Board of Supervisors for Tuesday, March 17th, 2026 into order and have roll call. Everybody checked they're present. I know who Craig Fowler will not be here, Jamie McCready will not, and Tim Pletz will not be. So that's three that will not be. So, okay, there's Punky and there's Audrey. So we should have 26 here. Carol, can you put Punky in? Carol, can you get Punky in there? Okay, all right. Okay, so we've got 25 actually here. Pete's online, so that's 26. And those numbers will be important later. And then we've got three that are absent. Public notification? Okay. Okay, the invocation will be by Pastor John Terpstra with the Calvary Baptist Church here in Barron.
Dear Heavenly Father, we live in a country have a with people. Lord, we pray that through this sovereign love, you have prayed that we would and the purpose of Father, we pray that us to be just humbly. Father, we pray that we personal agendas at the door for the common good. Father, we pray business accepted would be with Lord, praise you rather. Father, we pray that decisions that are made this morning.
Amen. Thank you, Pastor. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, item number 4, special matters and announcements.
Shelley Shaw, please, Mr. Chairman, and Casey.
Okay, hi Shelley. Floor is yours.
Always here to help me. Thank you. Wanted to introduce the Assistant CVSO, Casey Stobro.
Good morning, everyone.
Morning.
We're really excited that he's here with us. Also, I was asked to speak a little bit about our unmet needs and what we do with those funds that are donated. So we're going to get another check from the Hagen American Legion. They're giving us $6,000. Is that right, Patty? $6,000 will be coming to us. So this is very impactful because we'll have veterans that will come in and they'll have unmet needs, of course, whether that be utility bills that they're behind in, mortgage bill they can't make, rent, things like this. Sometimes the situation is we're waiting for the VA to make a decision on a disability, or they've been out of work because their disability is preventing them from going to work, things of this nature. We go through series of questions, figure out what the situation really is, and if we're going to be able to help. If they're in too deep of a hole, we're not going to add money to that situation. We're going to refer them to other organizations that can do more for them. But if it's a one-time help and we can keep them from spiraling, we're going to assist. So that's what those funds are for, and we're very, very grateful for it because it is making a difference in veterans' lives, one person at a time. you have any questions about that? It's very impactful. Thank you.
Just wanted to thank you, Shelley, and welcome, Casey. So keep up the good work.
We appreciate it. Thank you.
Another thing, Supervisor Cook tried to bait me into seeing how over budget we were on the Sally Port. I said, no, we're under budget. He says, well, you should tell everybody so they know that. And so I'm doing what he said, and he's right. So we've had some snafus with the Sally Port in terms of, you've probably read them in the papers, but anything that's gone awry has not cost the county a nickel. It's cost us in terms of time, but we hope now to be, by early to mid-April, have the Sally Port fully operational. So the good thing is that we're under budget, and hopefully some money can be used and returned back to the general fund, and some money be used to reduce the debt. There's parameters that define how that happens, and I'm not smart enough to know that, but these two on my left are, so. Yeah, it is nice.
I have a couple things.
Yep.
Okay, so I was notified by the Rice Lake Area School District that they will be having an open house for the Child Care Center Monday, April 6th from 4 to 6 p.m. for county board members, their board, UWECBC staff. So that's Monday, April 6th, 4 to 6 p.m. Then there will be an open house for the community on Wednesday, April 8th from 4 to 8 p.m. So they notified me of that. I walked through there when it was under construction. It was a mess, but it looked very nice what they'd done. A couple other items to be aware of. We are starting the 4th year of the breakfast meals at Lana's Cafe in Hagen. Yep, sorry. And Patty was gracious enough to take a bunch of pictures. They've been uploaded to Lance. We will get them on the website very soon. Also, Patty took advantage of riding with the highway department during a snowstorm and doing some plowing. And those videos will also be on the website shortly. Actually, Lance is going to get them all into one. So just wanted to be aware of that and share that with people of things. So I will just say thank you, Patty, and everyone that volunteers at Lana's. It was a great time last Thursday. Really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Is there any other supervisors that have gone with the ride along with our? I thought Supervisor Mosentine wanted to get in there, so. Good. Okay, item number 5, approve. Okay,
I just wanted to thank the 8 retiring county board members. It's been a pleasure working with you. Lance did ask that since this is most likely the last meeting of the month, that you leave your Chromebooks here. That way he can get them ready, has a few weeks to get them ready for the county board members that will be replacing you. But you will be missed, so thank you for serving.
okay. Item number 5, approve the agenda. Motion by Supervisor Heller, second by Supervisor Turcott. Is there any concerns with the agenda as laid out? Not, let's vote. Okay, that passed by a majority of 26 yes and 3 absent. Item number 6, approve the minutes of the February 16th, 2026 meeting. Motion by Supervisor Gores, seconded by Supervisor Cook. Any concerns with the minutes? Seeing none, let's vote. And that too passed with 26 yes and 3 absent. Thank you. Item number 7, public comment. We didn't have any at this time. Okay. Item number 8, recognition of the retiring county board supervisors. Supervisor Banks, Supervisor Efforts, Supervisor Fall, Supervisor Conan, Supervisor Mosentine, Supervisor Pletz, Supervisor Rogers, and Supervisor Thompson. And to echo what our clerk said, I want to thank you for your service. I know you've all had the best, doing the best you can for the citizens of Barron County. It's been a pleasure to work with you. Some boards have a lot of controversy. We don't, because I think our committees do a nice job vetting everything, and I think it's discussed pretty civilly here at the board. So I want to thank everybody that's serving, and maybe you'll be back someday. We'll see. But thank you. So are we going to take pictures of them now, or? Okay. So maybe in alphabetical order, I'll call your name up here and we'll grab a picture by the sign. So Supervisor Banks. Right there. That's a plot. You want it? First one? You bet. You have a good side or anything? Let's get in front of it. Here we go. Here, you should get that. Thank you. Anybody taking a picture? Yeah. Okay, then we have supervisor efforts. Okay. Gotta get this thing down. Okay, here we go. Thank you. Good job. Supervisor Fall. Right here.
Oh, good, I'm taller.
Yeah, that's why I'm going down.
How many years?
28.
28 years, I should have. 28.
A lot of years, Pam.
John, how many years is yours? 12. 12 for Supervisor Banks? And 7 for Supervisor Efforts. Supervisor Conan? Want to take notice if our Corp Council takes his jacket off, he's sure in the St. Patty's Day spirit.
He is.
And 2 years for Supervisor Conan. Supervisor Mosentine. You got a good St. Patty's Day outfit on. Who's gonna take care of the highway department now?
I know.
You know where to find.
I know where to find him. And I was on the city council there in 20 years and here 11. So I've given 31 years of my life to this. Okay,
Look here, Punky.
okay.
Thank you. And Supervisor Pletz, I had his job commitment, didn't allow him to come here today, but he's been with us a year, and his regrets, he wanted to keep going on, but he got a promotion with his job, and just, he couldn't do both, so. He lives in Tennessee now? Okay, Supervisor Rogers. Oh my God, he's ready.
Can't wait till I was here. You know me.
Yeah, I know.
How many years?
26, including time when I wasn't.
You should get extra for having to work
Well,
with
I
him.
did. I put that right in.
10 years on the board. And last but not least, Supervisor Thompson.
He's been here forever.
Yeah, 1999, so it's 27 years for this guy.
That's too many, isn't it?
No, we should stay on. Okay.
Let's get a picture for the paper. So we got everybody smooshing or something.
Maybe the shorter ones get in front. Monkey. Okay, I get out of there.
Oh, no, you shouldn't be in there.
You can stand in front of me.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to center on the logo.
Oh, okay. Go over down.
Over down, over down, I'm coming.
Keep her going. Yeah.
How we doing?
Amanda, Punky, and Pam, if you could step in the front, guys behind you.
Okay. There. you go.
Monkey, it's you.
Oh, yeah.
Front and center, Punk.
I'm covering everything necessary.
Everybody take one step this way. So,
Now one step back.
big smiles.
There we go. Look at that little camera can do this.
Now you're all ready.
Hey, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the memories.
She's got a record when you got elected. Yeah. You've been on 6 or 8. It's either 6 or 8. And then who? So it's 14 for you. Either 12 or 14.
Yeah, see, should have had one more number, I thought, year on those, but anyway. Okay. Okay. Now, this is item number 9, and let's see. This is the resolution authorizing the issuance and establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $5,525,000 general obligation promissory notes, Series 2026A. And Sean, do you want to come up and explain what we're doing? We're trying to save money, basically.
Yes, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. We put together a presentation to discuss with the county board the option of considering refinancing 2 issues that you have for your waste energy recycling center that financed projects for that operation. We'll go through this, and as I do, Mr. Chairman, if it's okay with you, if questions come up, I don't mind answering them
Okay, so
right
if-
away.
If anybody has a question, just take off.
Yeah, and I'll say at the outset, the approach that we have with refinancings is that they're not an emergency; they're a potential opportunity for the county, and we should always look at it as that. So hopefully, the presentation will answer questions on this and lay out the process forward. But again, feel free to ask questions as we move through. If we can go to the next slide. So the 2 issues that we're targeting for potential refinancing are listed on the screen. They're both state trust fund loans. And if for those of you on the board, one of the options for financing projects that the county has is using a program with the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands called the State Trust Fund Loan Program. It's like general obligation debt, like you would do for many other projects that the county's done financing for in the past. But it's a unique program that's offered by the Board of Commissioners of Public Lands in Wisconsin. The other unique part of this program, normally when we borrow money for the county, we're able to do it on what's called a tax exempt basis. So people who buy the debt and you make interest payments to them, they don't have to pay taxes on those interest payments that you make to them. And because of that, they charge a lower interest rate because of that benefit that they have. Some of the projects that you as a county do, and the Waste Energy Recycling Center, are more viewed by the attorneys as a private business operation to a degree rather than a governmental purpose. And there's nothing wrong with entering into doing projects that fall into that realm, but when you do so, and you need to borrow money for it, you can't use tax exempt borrowing. You have to use taxable borrowing. State trust fund loan is always an option when that reality is part of the process to secure funding for projects. And that was the decision back in 23 and 24, was to use this program because we had to issue taxable debt. And at the time, this was the best option in terms of costs to the county, this funding option. So the two loans are at current interest rates of 5.25 and 6%. They're fixed interest rates. So if the county does nothing, you continue to pay at these rates. The rates don't go up. And the loans go out to 2037 and 2034, respectively. The 4 million out to 2027, and the 2024 issue, the smaller of the two, to 2034. Okay. All right, we can go to the next slide. So this next slide, and maybe if it's possible, can we enlarge this one just a titch?
Just so you know, the supervisors do all have this in their packet.
Oh,
but
you do? Okay,
The public would probably be interested though too, so it's still a good idea.
Yeah. So what this slide represents is a side-by-side comparison. On the left side of the page are the annual principal and interest payments on the two notes, the two loans that I just described to you, the two state trust fund loans. So you'll see those annual payments with the interest rates at 5.25% and 6%, respectively, and they're combined together as if they were a single debt, but again, they are two separate loans. And then on the right side of the page is a projection of refinancing, so issuing new debt to pay off the two existing issues and lock into interest rates on a new taxable general obligation promissory note. Oop, I see it. Oh, there we go. In order to pay off the two old issues and then set a new repayment schedule through 2037 for the new proposed issue. And then on the far right side of the page is the new, or would be the savings or the lowering of annual debt service costs for the county by refinancing the two existing state trust fund loans with a new taxable general obligation promissory note issue.
Sean, I believe Supervisor Gooselik has a question.
Sure.
No? You hit the button on it by mistake? Okay.
Oh, no problem, no
Right.
problem. So two things to note on the savings. The savings are net of any costs associated with issuing the debt. The interest rates are projected, at the time, they were about 10 basis points over the market. I mentioned to Jeff, we have seen a spike up in interest rates with oil prices rising. Interest rates have come up in the last week. You've probably seen that in the news. So right now, this projects savings at a little bit under 170,000. This repays the new loan in the same exact term as the old loan. So it's not extending it over a longer period of time. It's still paid back fully by 2037. And again, the projected savings with this analysis was about 170,000, lowering in interest costs by paying off the old debt and issuing the new debt. As I'd mentioned, as of today, with that little spike up in interest, and we'll kind of see what happens, I think we'd be a little bit lower than this right now, but we still wanted to talk this through with the county so you understand your options going forward and what we're proposing as a process to determine whether at the end of the day it's worth refinancing these two issues or not.
So Sean, looking at that, it looks like the interest that we save is approximately 365,000, but we're talking about 170,000 of savings. So I assume the difference is expenses.
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Chairman. If you look at you can kind of see this on the principal column. If you look at the principal column for the old debt and the new debt, your current principal outstanding is about 4.8 million, but you see the projected new issue is the 4.9 million, and that difference would be including those costs into the new issue, and then thus the savings are net of those costs being included in the analysis. Correct.
Supervisor Cook, do you have questions?
Yeah, so it looks like the new proposal, that's not a fixed rate.
It is, yeah, but it's a good question. I should clarify that. When we get bids on an issue like this, the State Trust Fund Loan Program, that program gives you a single flat rate. When we take bids like we did with the Sallyport project last year, the bidders give us an interest rate for each maturity, but the rates would be fixed at the time. If we had an official proposal before us tonight or this morning as an example, and we were to approve that, the rates would be fixed at that
Okay.
point.
And then I see, like you said, we're at 499 or whatever that number is. The resolution is 5, a little over 5. What's the difference there?
Yeah, so one of the things, and maybe if you can hold on that, I'll go through the process, and I think it'll make a little bit more sense to you with that discussion about that.
And the difference from the original loan is what we've paid down. We're at 5.5.
Correct, yes. That's what you've paid to date on the 2 existing loans. That's correct. Yep. Okay, if we go to the next slide. So I think this also shows some of the issues we just talked about. I mentioned we'd have to do this on a taxable basis because of some rules around the operations of the waste energy, and it's not considered 100% a governmental purpose. It has some private purpose and portions to it that require us to use taxable borrowing. We would be expecting to use and get the debt rated like we have in the past, and that helps us get lower interest rates because the county has that extremely strong AA rating. We were just talking about the difference between what is left and outstanding on the debt and what the new sizing. So that shows the preliminary projected costs involved in doing the refinancing. And then finally, at the bottom of the page, in the past, when we've issued debt working with the county, the way we've done it, because we need money as of a specific date to pay for invoices and project expenses that the county has, we've set a sale. It's a competitive sale. We take bids typically the day before one of your county board meetings, and then the morning after we come and present the results of that. And we call that a competitive sale. In this instance, we're suggesting that a negotiated sale with a pre-selected purchaser of the issue may be the best route. And I'll get into that on the next slide, why that might make some more sense in this case. So what we're proposing for the refinancing is that we still have a competitive element to it, and that we go out for RFP, request for proposal, for various purchasers of a debt issue like this. And then working with county staff after we get the responses from them, and what they'll give us is their cost to do it and the interest rates that they project for the issue. We would select who we're going to move forward with on a negotiated basis to lock into lower interest rates that would result in the savings that we talked about. The executive committee met last week and discussed, is there a minimum amount that executive would want to see in terms of savings in order for this process to proceed? And that number was, again, was decided at about $160,000. So net of expenses, if the county could save $160,000, we would accept a proposal on that basis and move forward with paying off the old issues and locking in to the new interest rates and new repayment term that would result in that 160,000 in interest savings as compared to the existing debt that's outstanding. Net savings, yep, 160 net of all expenses, correct, yep. And in order to give as much flexibility in terms of the timing of accepting that proposal, the approach that's before the county board this morning is approving a parameters resolution. And what that parameters resolution states is that the county board gives the chairman and the administrator the ability to accept a proposal from an underwriter. And we're gonna go through a competitive process to select somebody to work with, that underwriter, as long as it achieves the parameters that are in the resolution. The biggest one is the 160,000 in savings. So what you would be authorizing this morning is that as long as we could achieve that, the market, the current interest rates achieve that, you're giving authority to the chairman and Jeff to, on behalf of the whole county board, accept that proposal. Now, going back to the question about the sizing, one of the numbers that changes as we try to make a final decision on this is accrued interest on the existing debt that you already have outstanding, the 2 state trust fund loans. Right now, as of March 15th, so just a couple days ago, the finance group paid the state trust fund loan the regularly scheduled payment on what was due here in 2026. But then on March 15th of 2026, you start accruing interest from that date till March 15th of 2027. And that number will go up until you pay that loan off. So one of the parameters, and the board member mentioned this, one of the reasons we did a not to exceed of a higher number than the 4.9 million is that accrued interest, if we end up going a little longer in terms of settling in on that final rate than what's expected, that accrued interest might go up a little bit higher, and that amount is in the amount we borrow to pay off that accrued interest. So that's, getting back to your question, that's the reason for some flexibility there. But there is a limit to that, and that would be that $5,050,000. If it goes above that, we would have to come back to get approval to do a loan that exceeded that amount. Yes, or we'd have to take the money from another source, correct, yep. The number that we ran, the projection that you saw early was around 170. And that had, this was about a week and a half ago was when that analysis was done. That was about 10 basis points above where the market was on that day. So I would say, unless the market dramatically changes, that 175 range would probably be about as strong as I think we're going to see, depending on where the market moves. Right.
Okay, Supervisor Heller had a question.
I was kind of in the same note. I said when we met, the executive committee set a minimum of $160,000, but they didn't set a maximum,
Right.
which is correct. So there is no maximum. You'll still go to bat for us no matter what it is and try to get the best case scenario.
Yeah, so just to give for the board how this would proceed, if we're seeing market rates that would achieve the 160,000 minimum, what we would be doing, working on behalf of the county, is working with the selected underwriter to achieve the best rates that we can, which could be a higher level of savings. And some of the things that we'd be using as leverage to try to negotiate back and forth on that final interest rate is other sales that we're seeing out in the market, to make sure that whatever we lock into on behalf of Barron County is representative of the interest rates that we're seeing in the broader market.
And Sean, wasn't it true before the war, interest rates were trending down? Now it's because of the war and the money we're spending, and there's little uncertainty, so that's why the interest rates are trending up. So if that war would terminate in the near future, like most people hope, that would hopefully drop the rates, trending them down again. Is that true?
Yeah, that's right, Mr. Chairman. I think, interest rates are affected by all kinds of things, but certainly there has been a moveward up since some of the oil prices have gone up, and I think that's all correlated together as you described. Yep.
Supervisor Guslick.
So is the amount the 5,025,000? Because I've heard 5,050,000. I've heard 5,525,000. So it's 525.
I was reading off the initial agenda, which had an error.
Okay.
Then I think Sean misspoke because on the agenda it says 5,025,000.
It's 525, Mr. Chair. I did miss, when I said 550,
So
Right.
how about the resolution that calls for the 4.5% max on the interest rate? Is that still going to stay in the resolution?
yes, that's a component of the parameters. And kind of, so the board knows the 4.5% rate ties into the 160,000 in savings. They kind of work hand in hand together. Right.
Thank you.
Supervisor Bartlett.
So is this, in the event we go forward with this, move forward, and so the maturity ends up being that approximately 2037, if interest rates would go down in the future, is there opportunity to continue to refinance this again, or are we locked in?
If we can go back a couple slides, I think we might have put that on there. One more, sorry. I apologize, maybe we did. If you can go to this one here,
Somewhere I saw they can
the
refinance.
plan was to put a call date in, I think it's 2034. That's also in the parameters resolution. So as of 2034, if interest rates were lower, the county could refinance again at that point. That's another element that's in that parameters resolution. So it would not be prepayable on day one, but it would be prepayable in the future should we want to take advantage or if lower interest rates were available at that point, that time. Correct.
Is there any other questions? Or Sean, is your presentation concluded? Or Supervisor Schradel?
Oh, sure.
Got a question about why we can't get a tax free on the interest, because it's owned by the county, it was built by the county, and the recycling part is mandated by the state. If I'm correct, I've been on that committee for a number of years, and there's no public shareholders because there's no shares to buy. So could you explain that to me?
Yeah, I'll start at the outset. The folks who make this determination, and John's worked with these guys in the past, the county hires Quarles and Brady as your bond attorney. And back when you first started to enter into the business of the waste energy and some of the services that you talked about that the county does, we went to Quarles with all of what the county intended, with the machinery that was going to be used. They looked at the operation and then looked at the IRS rules. They're the folks who actually make the rules about this sort of stuff. And the determination at that point was that, unfortunately, we cannot use tax-exempt financing for this. So we could get you more of the minutia as to why that decision was made. I'm not the expert on that, and it sounds like you are interested in that. But unfortunately, your thinking was my thinking at the beginning. This is a number of years ago when you guys first ventured into this operation. Seems like it's governmental purpose. You're doing it because of requirements that the county has. But after that thorough analysis and the IRS rules, the determination was made that we just unfortunately can't use tax-exempt borrowing for it.
Supervisor Cook.
To kind of follow up with what Carolyn was saying, so right now, if we can refinance in 2034, basically there's 3 years left. So, I mean, it's really not going to be a lot of savings to refinance that late. The current loan right now that we have, because you mentioned that, there's no prepay on day one. On the current loan, can we prepay? And we can refinance that at any time.
It's not at any time, but you do have the ability annually to prepay on the two existing loans. So that I'll tell you real quick their rules. The state trust fund loans can be prepaid every year, starting on January 1st to September 1st in that window, and you have to give them 30-day notice. That's what their rules are. So you have a blackout period in the fall, early winter, but for the other portion of the year, every year, you do have the opportunity of making prepayments on it.
And
So
that is-
the trade-off with the refinancing, if we go from the loan program to the securities market, and we talked a little bit about this with staff and the folks at the waste to energy plant too, if we go to the securities market, which we're proposing to potentially do with the refinancing, those purchasers, we can get a lower interest rate than what we're currently paying, but they also want some security that at least for part of the repayment on the new loan, it's not going to get prepaid. And they'll give us lower interest rates because of that. If we were to go to them and say we want it to be prepayable at any time, they would charge us higher interest rates. We wouldn't be able to get the savings. So there is a trade-off, as I think you're pointing out. If you want to try to maximize savings, you do have to give up some flexibility on the ability to prepay. And the 2034, we think, would give us still some prepayment option should we want to use it. If we push it earlier, the interest rate is going to go up and will hurt our savings. So it's kind of finding the best spot and what's most important to the county, the savings or the ability to prepay at any time.
Well, and the prepaid does allow you to save. I mean, you would save money if the plant, in fact, generated more revenue, as the proposal is, and you could prepay. You could make gains in that 160 savings pretty easily.
Yeah, we talked a little bit with the staff at the plant about what do you guys think if the operations was generating extra funding, let's say there was an improvement, and they kind of thought about a little bit, the discussion, Jeff could chime in on this too, was, yeah, but we also have ongoing capital needs, and if we had that cash, we might have to put it toward those projects. So when we talked about it, they did acknowledge exactly what you're saying, that maybe if we built it up, prepaying this issue, or these two issues would make some sense. But we're not sure we're going to have that kind of money. And even if we do, we're going to have other needs that we could potentially use it for to reinvest in the operations. So the feeling was a 2034 call would give us some option there, but we'd still like to get the savings. And that's kind of where the thinking was at the staff level.
Brent?
But again, it comes down to that valuation of the
Right.
prepay versus the savings.
Brent, do you want to just comment on that, just so people are aware? When you've been very frugal, you and your staff at the Waste Energy, but there's a lot of capital improvements and repairs that are being pushed back. So if you had some extra cash, you might use that elsewhere instead of paying down debt. Is that right?
It's all going to depend on operations and what the operations require. I think that, hopefully there will be years that we will be able to make substantial prepayments, but then there's also going to be years that we have to make substantial investments into the operation itself to keep it going. So I wouldn't be able to lock in on a certain amount every single year of a higher dollar amount of a prepayment, but it's definitely our goal to be able to make prepayments. But some years it's going to require maintenance. Some years we're going to be able to have a little bit more cash in our pocket. So it's hard for me to say. I can't guarantee anything,
Can you guarantee you can make the payments?
the minimum payments?
Yeah.
The minimum payments that we discussed during the time, yes,
Okay.
yes.
Is there any other questions? My screen went dead, so I can't, if you're asking to pose a question, I can't see that right now. If anybody wants to, please raise your hand. Okay, so it happened to everybody, okay. Okay, I believe we had a motion by Supervisor Gores and a second by Supervisor Olson to pass this resolution. The resolution will require a 3/4 vote of the entire board, even if you aren't here. So that means we need 22 affirmative requests for that. Okay, yeah, let's make sure everybody's back on. Okay, go ahead.
When I look at this thing, I mean, this isn't a guaranteed 160,000 savings. If in fact we generate more revenue, we can prepay our debt. In your best estimation, looking at both options, not doing it versus doing this.
Yep.
Is that 160,000? I mean, am I gonna be able to look back and track that? See if in fact this was a good decision in the future? In your estimation, is this going to be $160,000 worth?
The only way we would proceed is if we could lock into a solution that saves 160 or better. So yes, we won't,
I understand that part.
yep.
You play this out to 2034 versus prepay, I'm asking as an advisor, financial
Oh,
advisor.
yeah.
Rather, if I prepay, can I make up the difference of the 165? So doing nothing, but hoping that we do in fact increase revenues. In the long run, I could be better off than locking into something where I cannot prepay till 2034. Or do you think, as an advisor, obviously you're here saying that this is the way to go? Is that right?
I'd say that this is kind of that classic bird in hand situation. So on the one hand, if we could lock into a solution that you get the 160 savings, you would get that. On the other hand, could you get more from a scenario that you're describing where the operations are doing better than, say, the status quo and pay off the debt faster? That is an unknown. It could happen. It may not. It may. The other element that I would say we have to put into that analysis is it's because it certainly is a possibility and one worth discussing as a group. If you do end up with extra money and you don't have to use it for maintenance and new equipment, the other thing that you would do with it is you would invest it. And you might invest it at an interest rate that is as good or even better potentially than what you're borrowing at. And you may end up coming out ahead. Now, there's no guarantee of that because interest rates could be lower, but that's another part of the dynamic.
I mean, that's a hedge.
It is a hedge, yes. Yep.
It makes it, for me, in finance, that makes it more palatable.
Yeah.
Because without that, I didn't even think of that, and glad to bring it up, because
Yep.
I don't know if I could vote for this. Right, if I do have extra money, I can invest that.
Supervisor Vaughn.
I guess my question kind of goes along those lines. If we have extra, will we invest it? What will we do with the extra if we end up having that and we can't make a prepayment?
Well, I think that's going to be up to the Solid Waste Board and our county administrator to decide that. You know, again, there's so many unknown factors in the future. What do we need at the plant? Are we going to, are recycling rules changing? Are we going to get more into recycling? Do we need that money for that? Something breaks down that it is an older building. We've got some extra land out there. Right now, there's a lot of industry that likes to bring their waste to us because they get green credit. So I guess to answer the question, there's just so many unknowns. I don't think anybody can answer that question right now. Supervisor Banks.
With what's happening nationally, with interest rates, war, homeland security, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, is this really the best time to do this? I mean, I'm kind of nervous about what's going on, and I'm just looking for some guidance, I guess.
Sure. No, good thought, good question. So the analysis that we had with the 170,000 in savings, that analysis was pre everything that's gone on now for the last couple of weeks. And I think that represented a pretty stable environment in the broader market. So if we get back to that and we can save that kind of money, I think it represents a pretty good market condition to do a refinancing like this. If we can't, the world doesn't go back to that, we're not going to proceed.
And you're giving, in that resolution, you're giving Jeff and I the authority to make that decision, but we're of course not going to do that without the advice of Ellers telling us, yeah, this is the time to do it, because that's not our job like it is his.
Just run through the motion today is to explain it a little bit better. Yeah.
Okay. Basically, the motion is that you're allowing Jeff, our county administrator, and your county board chair, and I might not be that after the April meeting, but so the county administrator and the county board chair with relying mainly on the advice of Ellers to refinance our debt with a state trust fund. And we cannot do it unless we go with the parameters that are in the resolution. And the main thing being, we have to be able to save $160,000 to do it. Otherwise, we won't do it. Does anybody else have any further questions?
I have one.
Okay. You have a question, Patty?
Oh, I just wanted to say, like with our attorneys with the TOLUS laws, we seek people that have more knowledge than we do, and that's why we take their information and use it to their best knowledge for our best decisions.
Yep.
So I think this is a good idea.
Ellers has a very good reputation, and getting back to Supervisor Stradel's comment, Quarles and Brady is a well-known, respected law firm out of Milwaukee, so they're all over the nation too. Any other questions? Not, let's vote. Oh, okay. We got a maintenance problem. Yeah. Yep. Hey, we call on AI.
Oh. Oh. Goodness.
Louis?
Yep.
Well, this is Pam. I can't
Okay.
say I want to speak. I was just going to say while we're waiting on this, I was just curious how many years Sean has been working with us. When I think back, it's got to be 20 or more, like 30.
Dan Toll and Steve Tracy, I think, worked a lot with him over the years.
Yeah, I've been at Ellers 32 years. And when I saw you up there, Pam, I was thinking, geez, it has been a long time. So.
It has, because I remember when we had a finance committee.
Yes.
And you were at the finance committee.
I talked to Dan Toll yesterday, and he worked a lot with Sean, and he says they're a great firm, so.
Yeah. Thanks, Sean.
Okay, so it looks like we've got the motion by Supervisor Gores and second by Supervisor Olson. Are we ready yet? So is there any further discussion or questions? Seeing none, let's vote. And remember, we need 22. And that passed by a majority with 25 yes and 1 no. And 1 no was Supervisor Banks. Okay, so that passed. Thanks, everybody. Okay, and thank you, Sean. Okay, and the next one is number 10 is a little tricky also. This is the ordinance revising and adopting the Barron County rules and procedures. I will say I got to give a lot of kudos to our Corp Council who did an excellent job with this. It's something that's needed. Andy Phillips with the TOLUS law had been harping to all our counties in the state, you need to get your rules and procedures locked down because there's a lot of extremists on the right and left. There's a lot of things going on, and if you have a public comment or maybe some issues at your committee, you should have the rules and procedures detailed so that you got something to rely on. And so the TOLUS law, under the direction of the Wisconsin Counties Association, came up with a template for what the rules and procedures are. But as staff and Jeff and John and I talked about, you know, our rules and procedures have been developed over years and years, unique to our county. And that's why Supervisor Phillips says, don't take our template and just boilerplate it and put it into yours, because it won't work that way. You need to evaluate the template and then put what you guys believe and have developed over the years into that. So that's what John did, and he did an excellent job with that. But also, as part of that, there's supposed to be 2 readings of the rules and procedures before you can vote on it. We're at a point in time where we're going to ask for a motion that we suspend those rules so that we just have one meeting, which will be today. And it'll take a 2/3 vote to do that. You know, I don't think it's going to be fair to the 8 new people coming on to have them, if we don't suspend the rules, then the next April meeting, we'll have to vote on this, and they aren't going to know really what's going on. Okay. Supervisor Cook, you look like you have a question.
Well, that just happens. I think, you know, we go ahead and we have your policies and procedures, and then the first thing to do to get to them, we got to suspend the rules. That doesn't seem to make sense to me. If we have to have 2 readings, let's have 2 readings. I mean, my first meeting, I voted on giving $3.5 million to the Barron County Economic Housing Authority. I had no what the hell idea. I thought we owned that. So that stuff's going to happen. But if it requires 2 readings, I don't want to set a precedence where I can go look back and say, well, we suspended the rules. If that's what they have to do, they have to do.
Yeah, let the Corp Council will address that.
So just so that you know what we're actually voting on, normally, every couple of years, we go through the rules and procedures, and if there's any major changes that we've been talking about over the years, we make those changes. So this particular amendment that we're looking at, or this particular change in the rules and procedures, there's no major items of substance that are being changed in this modification. What I ended up doing is I ended up taking our existing rules and procedures, and I took the template that Atolis had put forward, and I merged the 2. So, you know, probably the biggest change that's going to be in here is that we never had a rule about closed sessions and supervisors being present in a closed session. And so if you don't have that rule, then a supervisor, anybody say it's a committee, any member of the parent body is able to attend the closed session of a subcommittee. They strongly recommend that you address that so that the committee can vote and exclude a member of the parent body. And mostly that's going to come up under probably one major scenario, and that's going to be if there's a conflict of interest or a potential lawsuit or something that deals with that supervisor and you don't believe that they should be in the room. It's probably going to get used extremely seldom, but it's there in case you need it. But other than that, other than some language changes and some tweaking and clarifying state law and meshing that with our existing rules, there's not a lot of substance in the changes. So
Supervisor Vaughn did go through this with a fine-tooth comb, and I congratulate her for that. And she did have a couple changes that was sent to Jeff, our county administrator, and John, our corp counsel, that they agreed with. And there are changes on page 91, and maybe you want to go over that one.
I think we need to get to the issue that Supervisor Cook's raising and whether you're going to suspend the rules or not.
Okay.
So I think we need to resolve that first.
Right, then if we get past that, then we'd discuss the changes. Supervisor Vaughn, did you have a question?
I was just thinking it'd be really good to wait until next month because it'd be excellent for all of the incoming supervisors to read through the rules and make sure that they know what's going on.
We have let's see, the election is April 7th. I believe it's April 15th. Every 2 years, once the new supervisors are elected, we have a day where the clerk and the administrator and corp counsel gives them a lot of information, and we sit down and try to explain what the county does, and that rules and procedures would obviously be part of that. I guess I can't see where new supervisors are going to have any meaningful input into our rules and procedures that we developed over the years. And after John just explained this, I'd like to get our rules and procedures set. I realize 1 month we've had enough time, but as John described it, we aren't changing, aren't doing major overhauls. And if we do, we're going to revisit this every year. We're just trying to get it when, you're all experienced here and understand what the rules and procedures are for the most part. And so.
One of the trainings activities that's there to pass in your old board, so the new board knows the rules they have to operate. They don't come in and.
Okay, what Jeff was saying is one of the trainings that remember that too, is Andy Phillips said, it's better to pass this under the old board because you guys know what's going on. The new people don't. And quite frankly, if the new people come in and they see something in the rules and procedures that they don't understand or have a question, they're going to ask the staff here and get an answer to it. If they aren't comfortable with the answer and they want to revisit it, that's going to be an agenda item that we discuss. So right now we have a motion by Supervisor Guslick and a second by Supervisor Heller to approve the rules and procedures. Is that right? You two?
I have, my speak rules.
Or, no, excuse me. I
My
gotta
button won't work
to
to-
suspend the rules.
So it specifically says in this ordinance, we're suspending the rules?
So you've got to go back to our existing rules because, so our existing rules, and they're set up differently because our rules go in order 1 through, technically we've only got like 9 rules. And under this new one, it's spread out through the entire packet, so there's not specific rules. But under our existing rules, rule number 9, amend and suspend the rules. The rules may be suspended by a 2/3 vote of members present. So that in this scenario would be 18 because there's 26 of you. And then it provides that the rules may be amended by 2/3 vote of the members present. And so in order to take it up today, you'd have to suspend it. So 18 of you would have to vote to suspend it, suspend the rules to vote on it, and then 18 of you would have to vote to amend those rules. If you don't have 18 to suspend it, then it's going to get a second reading. It's going to come back next month, and it would still need 18 votes, or probably at that point in time, hopefully, it's going to need 20 votes, because hopefully you're going to have 29 people here, to approve the amendment at that time.
So are you asking for a separate amendment to?
Yes.
So
Right.
why is that not on our screen then?
I can't answer that. I don't have the same screen as you. Do we have? So we don't have, you're not seeing a motion that says.
I made a motion, I accepted the motion to revise and adopt the Barron County Rules and Procedures. There's nothing about suspending rules to eliminate a second reading in this that I saw. So that's why I'm asking.
So the reason that is because in the agenda, the way it's put in is it's a motion to approve the rules. But you can't do that under our existing rules. You'd have to wait till next month. So what Louis was asking for you to do was somebody make a motion to suspend those rules. And that would have to be typed in, and then you'd have to vote on that. So the software isn't set up for those types of quick changes.
Okay, so we can do it manually. Want me to put in that new motion? Or do you want to do it by show of hands?
It's up to the clerk.
Okay, put it in if you can.
First of all, do I have, you're going to have to call for a motion to suspend, and I haven't heard that yet.
Correct.
That's
Okay.
I'm just trying to, we need everything to work out here.
If somebody makes that motion, Jess can type it in, but I mean, then you'll have to vote on it.
I'll make the motion.
I requested to speak so I could make the motion, but I'll second it as long as Patty has, so.
Okay. Okay, sorry, Pete, I didn't catch you there. So the motion by Supervisor Patty Anderson and seconded by Supervisor Olson that we suspend the rules, so we just have one reading of this change in our rules and procedures.
Yes.
And we'll need a 2/3 vote. And this is just to suspend the rules. And then after, if that does pass, we'll, if, you know, either. Just to suspend the rules, and if you're doing that, we're gonna try to approve the new rules and procedures today.
Hold on, we got people putting in motions when I already had a motion.
Yes. Yeah, I don't know that we've ever suspended the rules. You know, I don't think it's a precedent-setting thing. Well, we've only done it, if we do it, this is the only time I know it. All right.
We've done it before.
Okay, we've done it before I was here.
We've done it before.
Okay. Motion was by Supervisor Patty Anderson, seconded by Supervisor Olson to amend to, correct. Yes. Are we able to do that? Pete, do you see, are you able to vote? Yeah, I'm not able to vote. I can raise my hand.
I
Pete?
did, I voted.
Okay, well,
Yes.
yes. Okay, so is there any further discussion before we vote? Does everybody understand what we're doing? Just suspending the rules? Kathy, are you okay? Okay, I guess, has everybody voted except Louis says yes. Kathy? Yes or no? Is that a no? Okay. And Pete, you got, so it's just Kathy and I you couldn't see? Yeah, technology is good when it works. Okay, that passed by a 2/3 vote of members present. There were 20 yes and 6 no. And you know the 6 no are there? Okay.
Voting no were Supervisor Banks, Cook, Efforts, Kuselik, Conan, and Vaughn.
Okay. Okay, so the rules have been suspended. Now we're on to, again, we need a 2/3 vote to approve the revised Barron County rules and procedures. Well, I want to get a motion first, then we can discuss it further. Okay, the motion is by, are you voting for this, Supervisor Gusley? Or is that showing up from before?
Well, there was a motion and a second on the table. You can't just eliminate it,
Okay.
can you?
Then there's a motion by Supervisor Gusley. It's technology, I'm not sure. And it's seconded by Supervisor Heller. Okay, so this motion now is to approve the revised rules and procedures. Is there any further discussion? Okay, seeing none,
Yes.
let's.
No, I do.
Oh, Supervisor Gusley? Yeah.
On page 88 of your presentation, under 4.04, you have 2 number 1s. I don't know if that's what Diane caught earlier. You never went through what Diane caught that was going to be changed.
And we should do that.
And the other
81
question is,
81 was that?
page 88.
88.
Number 4.04, there's 2 number 1s. My other question is that I think our rule is that on executive committee, you cannot come in to that meeting remotely. But I did not see, and maybe I missed it.
I
where-
was wrong on that. You could have, here's the revised one. But you requested to come on there and we denied that request because I thought that was the rules. I was looking at my rules and procedures book, and that's what it had, the old ones. But then in February of 2025, we changed that. So you could, if the committee chair decided to have it remotely, you could. Keeping in mind, it's not an easy task for our IT to do it unless the meeting is held in this room. So you asked and we denied, so then Pete asked and did somebody else, Randy Cook and Pete Olson asked after you. Since I denied you, I denied them too. So it's my fault and I'm sorry, but the rules are going to allow that you can have committee remotely if the committee chair is going to allow it.
Well, and actually, I think that the rules say that the committee should discuss how they're going to handle and whether they can handle virtual meetings, and that those arrangements need to be made in advance. So if you're on a committee and the committee makes the decision whether you're going to allow virtual meetings or not. And so that's a discussion you should probably have on one of your agendas so that you know how to handle it and staff knows how to handle it when those questions come in.
Okay. And you want to bring up the changes that the Supervisor Vaughn brought up? So on page, I think they're page 91.
I've got those.
Okay.
So Supervisor Vaughn had a number of questions that she raised, and I know that I didn't respond to her, but I think that Supervisor French did, but I did see what she asked. I'll just raise those and then she can discuss further. She had indicated on page 73, number 4, which is actually page 4 of the rules if you look at the clean copy. She indicated regarding the Highway Committee vote, it states that we will vote by written and initial ballot. I do not recall initial portion before. How has this been done? What's the purpose of initialing? The purpose for the initialing a ballot is that you cannot have secret ballots on your elections except for your leadership. So for your chair, your vice chair, first vice chair and second vice chair, you can have a secret ballot, but you can't for your elected committees. And right now we only have one elected committee, and that's Highway. So in order to comply with that open meeting law item, you need to initial it. So that's the reason for initialized ballots. So I didn't make any changes on that section. Then she's got page 78, which is page 8 of the rules on the clean copy. Do we need number 5, since number 4 already states that per diem are paid by phone appearances? And I think that the reason that there was, that comes in twice is because under our old rules, number 4 was referring to county committees, where number 5 was referring to non-county committees. And so when we had that discussion a few years back, there was a discussion about not allowing phone appearances at all for county committees, not having virtual appearance by phone county committees. And then the discussion was, well, there's a number of committees that the county doesn't control, and the only way they meet is virtually. And so that was allowed to, that was the language specifically allowed at that point in time that anybody that's appearing on one of those committees, whether it's Momentum West or Regional Planning or other ones that we don't set the agenda on, they would be allowed to get a per diem for attending that virtually. Since that time, we've made the modifications to our rules to allow committees, if the committee allows it, to have virtual. So that's why 4 was addressing county committees, 5 was addressing non-county committees. It's a little bit redundant, but they are addressing separate issues. So that's why Mr. French's position was to leave that in. Page 80, which is page 10 in the clean copy of the rules, section 2.11, I believe in the executive committee was stated there would only be used for conflicts of interest. This is that voting in a closed session to keep a member out, and I addressed this earlier. And so the reason for that is exclusion of member from a closed session. This was me typing this up. I believe that the discussion at executive was why someone would be excluded. A conflict of interest was given as an example, but I don't think that the board should limit itself, especially when the issue of a conflict arises is solely, if a conflict arises, it's solely determined by the person who the conflict belongs to. So if somebody says, well, I don't think I have a conflict, then you can't, then the committee would be bound not being able to exclude them. So the conflict is personal to the person that, you can't determine a conflict. The rest of the folks can't determine a conflict. It's personal to the person that the conflict belongs to. And granted, probably the only time this would ever come into play is going to be with a conflict of interest. But the Atolas in their template didn't think you should limit yourself to that. They should allow the committee to make that decision if someone is excluded or not. So that's why that language was in there, or broader than just for a conflict of interest. With regard to page 90, section 4.11, and that's page 20 of the clean copy of the rules, talking is listed as prohibited. Can that be changed to loud talking? I think it would be really hard to police any talking, and it seems, I recall hearing statements that we shouldn't pass anything we can't enforce. On that talking issue, when it's going to be imposed is when it's going to be disruptive talking, and I don't know that you can, I think it would be really difficult to define. I think when it's considered disruptive talking is when it's making it difficult for this board to conduct business. So I don't think that if two people are in the audience and they're whispering back and forth, that you're gonna, tell them to stop. But if they're talking loud enough that you as board members are distracted, then I think you have a right to tell them to stop. So I don't know that loud talking, disruptive talking, it says talking, but that was the question that was raised. The last two are just kind of clerical or typo. On page 91, number 6, she added, do we need to add the word "are" to make the sentence complete? I believe that makes sense. And page 91 as well, she suggested that own property and pay taxes. I think it said own property and paying taxes. So I think that's just a semantics, and so I don't see any problem changing that one either. They're just more ministerial. But those are the items. I just ran through them quickly. I'll let Supervisor Vaughn address any of those if she'd like, and then the board can decide what they want to do with them.
I guess my only comment would be on the talking issue, like you said, as long as it's not disruptive, I don't see a problem with it. I know that I have seen people talking out there before. I've talked out there myself before.
I'm not going to stop that, but if, like John described, that'd be the situation. Supervisor efforts.
Yeah, I had a question on the reimbursement of expenses. And it talks about mileage paid for doing the actually driven miles. Is this new now, or is this still the old one?
Still the old one, hasn't
Because,
changed.
well, I was denied mileage on property committee because someone was abusing it in the past, so.
No, it wasn't that the day of our board meeting when we had that meeting?
No. I wanted to actually go visit the incinerator, and I asked for mileage and I was turned down.
Because there has to be a meeting.
You want,
Bill, there has to be a meeting for you to get reimbursed for the mileage. So if there wasn't a meeting that you were required to attend to be there as a member, you wouldn't get per diem and you wouldn't get mileage.
Oh, okay. Well, it doesn't specify that it has to be a meeting in that.
Well, we specify it someplace else that the only way you're going to get a per diem is there has to be an agenda. So if there's not an agenda and you're not on the meeting, if you're not in the
For per diem, but not mileage?
same, but they tie together because they're both under IRS code section, I don't know, 260 or 262.
and there is a rule in there that Jeff and I can decide to make an exception, because there's some meetings you have that you don't take the minutes of for reasons.
And there was quite a little abuse in the past where board supervisors were driving on their own recognizance and wanting to get paid mileage. Because I had to go talk to Jim Smith, and they wouldn't call him. Well, why don't you call him? Why didn't you talk to him? So they'd drive and put on 60 miles round trip, and there's really no reason. So,
Any other questions? Okay, we've got the motion and a second. If there's no further questions or concerns, seeing none, let's vote. Bill, I think they're just waiting on you. So it passed by 2/3 vote with 25 yes and 1 no. And the no is supervisor efforts. Thank you. Okay. We're on to number 11, the ordinance repealing and recreating Chapter 46, Article 2, recycling of the Barron County General Code. Motion by Supervisor Cook, seconded by Supervisor Thompson. Is there any concerns with this ordinance? Seeing none, let's vote. That passed with 26 yes and 3 absent. Thank you.
Got off easy, Brent.
Okay. Item number 12, ordinance designating additional portion of county highway as ATV/UTV route. Motion by Supervisor Jenkins, seconded by Supervisor Bob Anderson. Any questions or concerns on that? Seeing none, let's vote. That passed with 26 yes and 3 absent. Thanks. Let's see, resolution authorizing release of approximately 2.69 acres for county forest land, town of Cedar Lake, per Wisconsin statute, section 28. Motion by Supervisor Moen, seconded by Supervisor Gores. Is there any questions on that? Seeing none, let's vote. That passed with 26 yes and 3 absent. Item number 14, report from our county administrator.
Keep this brief. We've been here a long time. So in the packet is a nice article written by Dave Armstrong about economic development. We wanted to include that if you didn't read that in the Wisconsin Counties magazine. Forward Analytics, I gave this to the executive committee, has done a very good job on affordability in the last from 2020 through and even 2000 to 2024. If you want to see that, I'll give that to you. It's very interesting. Top 2 things have to do with the medical field. Item C, 2 Lights for Tomorrow, national initiative celebrating 250 years of history. The 2 Lights for Tomorrow is an initiative to celebrate and is encouraging citizens to display 2 lights, often electronic lanterns, in their windows on April 18th to honor Paul Revere's ride. This gesture symbolizes vigilance and the warning by sea from 1775 and united the nation for the future, creating a nation. The Wisconsin coalition that's doing this is asking people if they're willing to do that, to put 2 lanterns in their window through the end of the year. So it's really simple. You go to Hobby Lobby, get the 2 electronic candles, you set them, they go on automatically. Guys, you'll score big points with the wife when you drive her to Hobby Lobby. You can sit in the car, listen to some old rock and roll songs. She scores, you score. You might even be able to get to eat out. So that's how you handle that, gentlemen. And honey, I'm coming home right after the meeting. Okay, Lana's Corner Cafe, we talked about that. So the pictures, so that's what I have. I don't have any appointments.
Okay. Claims, petitions, and correspondence? None. Okay, suggestions for future agenda items? Well, next meeting after the election, we'll have the county board reorganization, and then we'll have 2024-26 health insurance data to cover in our May meeting. Is there anything else? Seeing none, by unanimous consent, we'll adjourn at 10:25. Thanks, everybody. And on to Punkies if you're going.
Now, how do we get to her house? It's a cluster.